Thank you, Joe. Again, I'm Linda Lovey, Lovey Wealth Management, and today I'm going to talk about the value of time and getting forward with moving and putting money aside and letting time be on your side. So I'm going to talk about Prudent Polly and Procrastinating Pete. So, Prudent Polly, at age 25, decides she's going to go ahead and start saving for her retirement. So she puts away $3,000 every year for 8 years. So she's invested $24,000. All right. Procrastinating Pete, on the other hand, decides he wants that fancy new truck and he's got a bunch of other things he wants to do with his life. And so he waits 8 years and he starts at age 33. And he starts with $3,000. But he does it for 38 years instead of just the 8 years. So now he has invested $114,000. So now I ran some hypotheticals and I'm going to pass them around so you can see the actual numbers. You'll see one says Polly and one says Pete on it. This gets about 11.95% rate of return, which is not a outstanding fund. I mean, it's a good return, but that's easy fund to get that kind of return. Again, as I always have to say, past performance is not a guarantee of the future. All right, so going forward now, after they sit, the money grows. Down age 70, what do you think the value of these accounts are going to be?
I think Polly's is going to be 2.9 million.
Math skills there. Yep, 2.9. Actually, really close to 3. She actually comes up with a total of 2, 9, 8, 7, 4, 74. Now you think because Pete put away for 30 years more, he would have caught up. But his came out to $1,360,862. When you think about how much more he invested and how much longer, just because of the waiting for the 8 years, that's why I try to encourage people, start putting money away now. The other thing to consider is as you're going through life and you're getting raises, to make sure that you take part of those raises, use part of the money to live off now, have a nicer lifestyle, but then think about, do you want to raise in retirement? So take half that money that you're getting and put that aside to your retirement accounts also. So that's something to consider there. So that was just kind of the idea of kind of expressing how it's really important to take advantage of doing something now. $3,000 turns out to be about $250 a month. If you can't afford to do that, then gradually build up to that. So any questions or?
Can you kind of go into the rule of 72 a little bit? Because that's that extra 8 years where everything doubles again, right?
Yeah, there is a rule. It's the rate of return that you get can be divided by the number to tell you how long it's going to take for that number to double. You can look it up on the internet. I don't actually have that memorized, but it's a good rule to kind of remember if you want to figure. Another thing to kind of remember too, talk about different numbers, is when you retire, you want to have, if let's say you wanted to have $40,000 a year to live off of, that means you need to have $1 million saved. So take whatever you got saved up and figure a 4% withdrawal. That would be an amount that's fairly safe to not eat away all your principal and help you to have enough to live out through the rest of your retirement. So that's always a good rule of thumb to go by. So.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if obviously we can't go back and change what we have not done, what would you suggest that we do to accumulate what we're looking for with the time frame we still have left.
Good question, thank you so much. So one of the things you could do, you could either just, save more, and obviously go through your budget. There's a bunch of different ways you can create more money. Like Matt and I can tell you, most time, if you have a life insurance policy that over 10 years old, you can go back and usually replace it and save money there. If you've got an income tax refund that you get every year, instead of letting the government hold your money, use that money to invest. The other thing is, look at, can you get a better rate of return? So maybe if you need to catch up more, maybe you need to do like more of a small cap or mid cap type of investment, because those get a higher return. And then just make sure you pull your investments back as you get closer to retirement, so that you're not so aggressively invested right toward the end of your retirement. So.
Yeah, speak to that a little bit more, if you wouldn't mind. Age as opposed to how aggressive your investments are.
Okay, all right. So what I like to do with my clients, the advantage of having a financial advisor is they can give you some direction as to the steps you should be taking. So what I like to do with my clients is I tell them, if you're starting here, this is where you're at, and you're gonna retire, this is how much you want out here in retirement. You need to be putting so much away to get to there. Okay, so if you wait, and it's gonna be longer here. So when you're investing, the longer you wait, the more you've got to put aside to get it. So when you're investing, so you can invest in the market so that it can be kind of performing up and down and up and down and up and down. And if you know you're going to retire out here, then at this point here, then move it back so it's a more conservative investment. So in other words, take advantage of the growth right here by being more aggressive. And then when you're about 3 to 5 years away from retiring, then put into something more conservative. So increase your bond exposure or your cash exposure. And there are all kinds of products out there too that you can use to help replace some of the bond portion that has guarantees. So you have some of the money in the market and some of the money into guaranteed products.
Any other questions? All right, Linda, tell us how people can get a hold of you.
All right, so my number is 775-544-4714. My website is www.llovie. Be sure and go on there. You can see a bunch of different stories of things that I've ran across and things that you can avoid, mistakes you can avoid yourself, and you can reach me out through there.